Hannah Grace Fletcher. I'm a 21-year-old writer and aspiring author, currently working on my very first novel project, Project.AOS. Ace of Spades is a YA religious fantasy / science fiction novel, and today's video is part 2 of pre-revision prep. In the last video, you saw me go and create the project playlist, I created the vision board, and I worked on character sheets for what seems like a way too long amount of time. I got about 80 plus characters, and then I decided to make character sheets for about 55 of those. And that was extensive. Then again, they weren't like extensive character sheets. I only did nitty gritty like Enneagram and maybe wants and needs and specific backstory stuff for my main characters, and then some characters that are related to them in that area. And so I didn't go too heavy on it, but I did at least write a couple sentences for every character going into their motivations, their wants, and how their personalities functioned kind of in the story. And so that was really fun. Surprisingly, even though it was such a small thing, even though some characters, it was only a couple lines, it really helped me think about my story through less of just my main character's perspective. It helped me think about how my story functioned as a whole and on a bird's eye view, and really be able to flesh it out more. That small thing just made me understand the culture and how different people functioned in the world. So I thought that was really cool, and so I highly recommend doing that. It does take a while and it is a pretty small thing, so if you don't have time to do it, I don't think it's something that you have to do, but it really helped me just feel personally a lot more like I understood my characters and who they were. And then we get to earlier this week, then we get to Sunday and Monday. I ended the last vlog on Saturday. What proceeded to happen afterwards was I decided to brutally confront my character's motivations. Now, one of the biggest edits that I had, and I'll talk about edits really quick. I need to fix world building in the beginning. It needs to be more clear. There are a couple missed opportunities of events that need to take place in my story that I really want to include. And then the biggest thing, besides like, I don't know, like little small copy edits and little small switches to make things make more sense, is character motivations. And you would think, Hannah, you are on draft 3. Don't you know your character motivations? Yes, my characters have motivations. The problem with their motivations is that they don't make any sense. They don't make any sense. So I do want to say that Ace is fine. Ace is fine. There's a couple missed opportunities with him, but his motivations are strong, they make sense, they're logical. Beatrix and Biston have a lot of problems. So I had brought to the table with a meeting with my project director, my professor that I'm working on the book with for my thesis, that Biston's motivations don't make sense. He's confusing, his personality isn't as strong as it should be. Draft 2 was kind of me adding more backstory to his character, and some elements started to conflict with the original version of him, so he then kind of just became a Frankenstein's like version of himself. So I knew that I really need to make his personality and who he was, his motivations, his thoughts, a lot stronger. I already knew that. What I was not completely aware of is that the thing that he is doing is a bit extreme, especially because there are other extreme solutions that he could do that are less extreme than this, that would accomplish the same thing that he wants. He has a goal, and what he is doing to do that, get that goal, is really a roundabout way of achieving it, and is a lot less effective probably, I think. But the thing that he does is he goes on a journey with my main character Ace, and it's important that he goes on this journey. And so I have to make the journey that he's going on make sense. And then Beatrix, this was unforeseen. I was looking through the latter half of the book, just skimming through notes that my professor had left to get a good idea of stuff before I actually read through the draft in a lot more scrutinizing detail. And there was this one offline where she explains what she's doing to Ace and Biston. And she says this, and my professor writes a note there, like, we shouldn't know this. This is not something that comes up until later on and is seen as like a big, it's not a big shock, but it's seen as a shock. It's not something that people were very aware of. But the problem is her motivation for going on this journey, the same journey as Ace and Biston, hinges on this motivation that she has, a motivation that depends on her knowing something that there is no way for her to know. Girl, please, what the actual heck? What the actual heck are you? What? And the thing is, like, my professor didn't even notice this. It was just like, this line, they shouldn't know this, but the problem with that line is it's her directly explaining, like, her entire motivation for the book, which does not make sense because it hinges on her knowing something that she doesn't know. I mean, please. And then after realizing these things, I proceeded to try to figure them out for a little bit, go through my thoughts, went to bed, and I do this thing where I am dreaming, okay? I have a dream. And occasionally, if I'm really stressed out in like real life or I'm thinking about book stuff, the dream that I'm having, unrelated to books, it's like a separate story, I dream it over and over again. So I am basically replotting in my sleep over and over until I wake myself up from this nightmare that I'm in, because I've just exhausted myself so much that like my brain is too active and I wake up. And on, I think it was Sunday night, I, for the first time in I think ever, I was actually trying to replot my character's motivations in my sleep. Love that for me. It was kind of productive. It made me realize where, like, something about where to place the missed opportunity for Ace, but I just woke up at 3:30 a.m. and I was like, no, we're not doing this anymore. If I'm gonna be doing this in my sleep, I might as well be awake. And so I proceeded to try to figure this stuff out, hit a bunch of walls, made a 1.5-page document, emailed that to my professor saying, hey, these are all of my ideas. Can you tell me if you notice any other holes? I figured out Biston's, and it's actually pretty simple. I just need to make him a lot more desperate. So it seems like, oh, he really needs to do this. And then on top of that, I'm toying with the idea of potentially removing a roadblock to what he's trying to do. And it also fixes some stuff at the end of the book. I will have to rewrite 2 good portions of the book in their journey. I need to rewrite the ending, but I already wasn't perfectly happy with it. And then I need to rewrite another section right before the break into Act 2 of how they kind of like go into the journey functioning stuff. And so that is how I fixed him. Did I figure out Beatrix's situation? Kind of. So here's what happened. I came up with 2 different ideas. I came up with one idea, which was to just make her be aware of the truth of the situation. She could overhear this in a conversation because her stepfather, her mother are high in society and work in a system that she would be able to possibly, if the people in the system are aware, which they aren't, be aware. And then it would change the ending to where like it's no longer that she's having this moment at the end where she has this realization, like the truth comes to her. She already knows the truth, and the reveal is to Biston and Ace in that, oh, she has always known this to be true. What? So that's a situation. Or there's another option I have where I make it where she doesn't know, but she has a plan that makes more sense and is more convincing. Like she has something acquired that would make this make more sense. And the problem with that one is I have 2 A and B options juxtaposed with that. I choose that, I have to choose one of these options. Neither of these options make sense because one of them makes another aspect of the story not make sense, and the other one makes another aspect of the story not make sense. So both of these contrasting ideas, neither of them function because the one that would make sense doesn't make sense because she wouldn't need to go on this journey anyway. I don't know. I don't know. I need to drink a matcha. I can't do this. Oh my gosh, you've got to be joking. One moment. Really sorry if that was stressful for y'all. That is the current state. Update though. I think I'm going to pick the first option with Beatrix. I think I'm going to make her aware. It is going to change a lot of her inner thought, and it is also going to change the ending. I haven't thought about this, but as I replot, I need to make sure that the changes to Biston's motivation in addition to Beatrix's motivations, I need to make sure they don't contradict each other because then we would be in another problem. Why did I try to start my writing career with such like an extensive and complicated world slash plot slash characters slash everything and make it a super long series in which all of this is setting up everything else and the future of the other books depends on this book? I don't know. Okay, but anyway, that's our update. I've talked for 11 minutes. Let's actually get into the vlog. Dang it, I'm sorry, that was probably kind of boring. I feel very refreshed today, actually. I'm trying not to be too stressed about those things. Last night, I was like, I cannot think about this anymore. I just need a break. Sometimes you just have to be like, break. And I really want to fix these plot issues because some of them are things that readers could overlook. Like Biston's motivation, they could just be like, oh, he's a kid. This seems like the right answer to him at the time. The way the information is presented, this seems like the right solution. There are things that readers could suspend their belief on, and I could just like band-aid it. But I really do want to fix it if I can, because I don't want to be the kind of author that just says like, I don't know how to do this, so we're just going to keep it there. I really want to try to fix it. I want my book to make sense, and that's hard with books with complex plots. It is. And I'm asking you guys, does a book exist without a plot hole? And by plot hole, I mean inconsistencies. Things that don't make logical sense. Could a book exist without any of those? I don't think so. I feel like there's always gonna be like a small thing that doesn't make sense, because let's be honest, life doesn't make sense. Sometimes I act in ways that don't make sense. I'm like, why the heck did I do that? What was I on? But anyway, I'm trying my best. I don't want to band-aid things. I truly just want to fix things. But I feel refreshed today. I'm excited. I have a goal to do 4 chapters a day until I finish this read-through annotation. I'm doing this so out of order. This is just me explaining my book for 15 minutes. I'm going to read through the chapter, take notes. I'm going to do reverse outline, but that reverse outline is me writing down exactly what happens. And then I'm going to go through and read the chapter again, annotate it, and then I'm going to take notes. Mark little things that matter. I'm going to do that for every single chapter in my book. When I get done through that, I am going to take my reverse outline and I'm going to create a revised outline. And for these things, I'm using plot grids. I am putting the time, the place, the POV, the plot beat, everything, and story beat. And then I'm putting the main plot and then subplots and then arcs and then other stuff. So it's going to be an extensive amount of work. This is the most work I've ever done. I'm a pantser, not a plotter. I have never gone this into detail on anything, but especially with how late we are in this process and the fact that everything is so nitpicking complicated. I think a big issue I ran into with draft 2 was just I did not know what I was doing. Like I had kind of a plan, but if something changed along the way, I was just like, oh well, I'll just change it. And that isn't always gonna work because as you're going along, you're making different decisions and sometimes those can contradict each other or just not be as effective. And so that's why I want to do all this planning before I start the draft, but I think I'm gonna have to push my start date for actually revising till the 19th of January. That is a bit concerning to me, but I'm just pushing everything back. That's not just pushing my start date back, it's pushing all of the 3 drafts back. That is our update. We are going to start on chapter 1.
Smiley faces in the vapor, counting corners till we get to any place but where I'm at. Every exit's getting louder. I'd assure you that it's nothing, but you never saw it coming, none of it. But then how could you now? A part of me wants you to see.
I wanted to give you guys a little update. I've already filmed this basically twice, but I didn't like how the footage turned out, so we're doing it again. But most lukewarm take ever, I might actually be starting to love editing, because this process of reading through each chapter and actually taking the time to figure out what I need to edit is making me feel not only so much more confident about going into draft 3, but it's allowing me to actually see the book from an overarching view. I'm able to get a better grasp on the actual structure of the story and places where things are interconnecting. And it's so funny because I'm noticing the smallest things that if they're just tweaked slightly, it would make the story so much better. It's like when you have a note and you're tuning your guitar or your violin or whatever, and then you tweak it just a little bit and then it rings true. It's just all of these small little things that if fixed would just make the story sound so much more clear and make so much more sense. And it just makes me so happy because I feel like draft 2, I knew that there were issues and I knew that there were problems. I knew they were there. I didn't know what they were. And then on top of that, I didn't really know how to actually fix them. And so I was basically like editing blindly. And I remember doing the pre-revision prep vlogs and them being like, we've done the best I need to do. Like, we just need to get started on the draft. But I cannot stress enough how much this has helped me. I feel so much more confident. I actually understand where this draft needs to go. And a big part of that is the fact that I was able to get feedback. I've had someone analyze this novel. I've also had distance from the novel. And I've done a lot of like heavy work in draft 2, but it's like now I have the skill set to actually fix it, and it's so much fun. And I think I explained this a little bit, but I kind of want to go into more detail because the process has kind of changed. So I go through and I read, and while I'm reading the draft, I annotate. And then after I've done that and I've pointed out little things that need to change, I will go into my plot grid spreadsheet and I will write down the main plot and I will write down all the subplots, like what development is happening. Now, not all the subplots are being interacted with in every single chapter, but every chapter is doing something. And it gives me like a layout of everything. And my main plot portion is huge. Like, I am writing down what is happening. It's like I'm zero drafting my novel. I'm like giving it point for point what happened. It's not just like a short line of the main plot. Like, I give like the main theme, like what is genuinely confronted in it, but I give big summary of everything that happens. And just laying out my story in the simplest terms possible makes me see everything so much clearer. Like, I don't know if I talked about this, but there's one point in one of Biston's chapters where he's doing things that further his motivation, but the way that the motivations are laid out, it seems like he's making one choice that contradicts it in favor of the other choice, but it contradicts his motivation directly. And then right after that, making a choice that is for it. And so like unconsciously, a reader doesn't know why it feels conflicting, and it's conflicting for other ways, but like it's an unconscious, like something doesn't feel right and I don't know what it is. And writing it out in simple terms just explained it so much easier to me. So I'm about to run out of room on my camera, but things are going really well. I am on chapter 7. I need to get 2 more chapters done tonight, and then we'll keep going. But like, genuinely, I cannot stress enough how important this is. And I am truly, actually loving this.
Stand by the fire, your tiny hand in mine. You're 5 feet off the ground. You rest on my shoulder. The stars convey the light, so fragile in the night. In this moment, forever be, in this moment, forever be. The night fades like a whisper.
Hello everybody, it is now actually Wednesday of the next week. I took a pretty big break from filming. I think what I realized from my last pre-revision prep video is that I really like filming over a long span of time, and then I can give you more updates. I can feel like I'm making progress throughout the video and just in general, and I can also have days where I just don't film and I just take a break and I just spend time with my project, just me, without a camera. So I've been really enjoying like the long span videos. It does help me keep track of what I'm saying because I edit as I go, so I don't like forget what I'm talking about. Speaking of the last clip, I have been debating whether to keep that in for the longest time because I think the lighting is absolutely atrocious. But I just decided that, oh well, you know what, we tried our best. Sometimes filming isn't gonna end up coming out perfect, and I'm not gonna like delete a whole portion of the video just because of that. So yeah, we're here. I have updates. I have since had another crash out about this book. So flash forward to last week. You guys know I sent my professor a 1.5-page document detailing all of my thoughts and directions I thought I could go to fix the motivation problems with my characters. I got feedback back, I think it was last Thursday or maybe it was Friday actually, but I got feedback. No, it was Thursday. And I sat in my car for like a few minutes and I was like, oh no. Okay, so the feedback that I got was that I was originally confronted obviously with the fact that Biston's motivations don't make sense. And so I was suggested with an idea to change his backstory that would fix the motivation problem. The whole reason that he's going on this journey is different. And when I first heard it, I was like, no, definitely not. I like the way it is. I like the way that I've come up with it. I like that all of the characters are going on this journey for different reasons. And not that it still isn't a different reason, but it's not as vastly different from Ace's reason for going on the journey as it is now. And so I just didn't want to do it. I also knew that it would cause so much interiority issues. I would have to rewrite a bunch, and though I was told that my professor doesn't think it would change too much, which since I've looked at it, I don't think it does, I believe that in order to make the edit actually reflect the story as a whole, that it would actually have to change a lot, just dialogue and what we see from Biston's character. It would change that a good portion. And I did not want to do that. And I got my email back, I got feedback back on my thoughts, and essentially was that I'm probably overcomplicated things. This is probably the simplest answer. Obviously, I don't have to follow everything that critique people give me. I don't have to do something if I don't think it's right for the story. But I researched the idea again, and I thought about it extensively on the manuscript as a whole. And I think that I've come to the decision that, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but I'm glad to notice character motivations errors. Those are big problems. But unfortunately, that my professor's probably right about the fact that this is probably the best solution. Is it gonna be an extensive fix? Yes, but at the end of the day, I think that it's gonna make the book better. And I've struggled with this problem a lot on this channel, and over the past few days of realizing that I need to change this. Even though it doesn't seem like a big deal because the majority of the story is in Ace's point of view, to me it feels like a big deal. But I've always thought and called myself lazy for not wanting to make big changes to the manuscript and just falling back on the original idea of things. And I've kind of realized that that's not necessarily true. I don't think it's that I'm lazy, because I'm willing to put in the work. And just reading through draft 2, I've noticed that there are so many developmental things that have changed so much about this story. Though there are parts of this book that are in many ways identical to the original line-wise, it's because developmentally that is what the story needs at that point in the story. And I've realized that calling myself lazy isn't right, and that's just unhealthy, because naturally I am a very productive person. I thrive off of productivity. If I'm bored, I literally get depressed because I always need something to do, and I like doing things. It's fun for me. I love being active and seeing what I can add to the world and doing that. Fish, you're so silly. Oh my goodness. But anyway, I've kind of realized that it's not that I'm lazy, it's that I'm scared, because making these big changes is absolutely terrifying. And I had such an amazing time writing the original draft of this book, and I was actually really proud of draft 1 of this book. I thought it was a good book, and I think that's why I had so much trouble going in and ripping it to shreds, because this project is so close to my heart and because I care so much about the characters and the world. Every time I have to change something, it just feels so terrifying. It's like a high risk, high reward situation. By changing and telling myself that I need to make big developmental changes, I am almost risking the fact that I already in my mind have a good book for the chance that it can be better. But in my mind, I'm almost scared that I won't be able to pull off those changes, that I'm gonna make the book worse. And so that is very difficult, because And I got so emotional over this earlier. It's just because so much time has passed. I was literally crying and having a moment because I'm just so scared. Fish, I can't believe this. She wants to play. I feel so bad. I've been working all this morning. Over these past few days, I've got it in my head that like this is the point where I decide whether I'm gonna face my fears, if I'm gonna be brave and like tear this manuscript apart basically, or I'm gonna keep doing what I have been doing and like try to Frankenstein things together, which isn't gonna work. Like at this point, this is feels like a very much of a turning point for me where I decide who I'm going to be as an author, if I'm gonna be brave enough to make these changes. And I just need to. Like that's just the way it is. We cannot keep doing this. And I have tried, but like at this point, I just need to let go of the old book. I have considered burning my book again, legitimately because I cannot let go of it. But I'm trying, and I think draft 2 helps because I broke it up a little bit, and now I'm trying to take the parts that I like and do it again. I've already broken it once, so it feels easier to break it apart. And I was talking with Kara on Monday night because we were having our writing session together, and it was very helpful because she was just like, she was telling me to think of it as a completely different book, and that helped me a lot. Like it's completely different. It's completely different version, and it is not the same. It's almost like the book, but what if this happened instead? It's like an alternate reality, and I'm so concerned, and I've got it in my head that I want to query this book this year, like after I graduate, but that is putting so much pressure on me. Yes, I would love to do that, and I still want to try to do that. I don't want to give up on that goal, but like, I can't be afraid to make these changes just on the off chance that I edit it wrong, because this draft 2 version of the book will still be there. Draft 1 of the book is still there. If I truly do something that screws up my book so phenomenally, I can always go back and change it. But that's kind of my thought process. We're about halfway through the manuscript. I got a little bit behind, if you can't tell by the fact that I wanted to start on the 19th of January. But we're getting through it, we're having a good time, and Fish is currently nipping at my hand, so I think this is the end of the update. But yeah, lots of changes and lots of needs to really change the way that I'm doing things and to really move on with the manuscript, and that's where we're going. Also, side note, he told me that Beatrix's could be fixed pretty easily, so that makes me happy, but I'm still scared, but I'm gonna try my best. And I'm trying not to cry right now, but I'll see you guys in the next update. The people, say hello. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, careful. So pretty, so kind. The fish. Yes. I love you, fish. Oh, hello. Very nice to meet you. Oh yes, start licking my hand like crazy. I love that. Bye. Hello everyone. It's actually been about 2 weeks since I filmed the last clip, but I wanted to go ahead and drop in and give you guys an outro for the video, even though it's been so long. I had to move for school, and then I had a bunch of life stuff come up, and so for basically the week after I filmed that clip, I worked on the manuscript a little bit more, obviously, because that was only Wednesday, but the following week I was pretty much not really focused on writing, and then I slowly picked it back up again, and about 2 days ago, on Thursday, I think, yeah, it was Thursday, I finished the manuscript. It's done. So, well, not the edit, that would be absolutely insane, but I finished my read-through of the manuscript, so that is really great. It took so long, but I know I already talked about this a little bit in the previous clips, but I cannot stress enough how good it was that I actually decided to commit time to the pre-revision process and actually carve out this space before just jumping into the draft. There were so many, it was so grueling, especially the reverse plotting, because obviously I would write like a 500-word summary on average of each chapter, and that was so grueling, but I cannot express this enough. I would annotate the chapter, and occasionally I would go ahead and record all my annotations, because I'm also recording them on paper, on just like a overarching notebook paper section. And I would think that I was done, and then I would go to summarize, and I would realize so many things that I just never caught, ever. So if you have not tried summarizing, this is more so for people that are plotters who just never end up doing this, because the way that they discover their book is through actually writing the book. And I feel like if you're a plotter, you actually do write out these summaries before you even start. I had never summarized my book to like that intensity in each chapter, and it helped so much. It helped so phenomenally, and I have so many notes that I'm just so excited to implement. I even just watching back the clips and editing them, I'm so sorry that I sound so stressed out. It's because I was literally so stressed out. That's probably why I sound stressed out. But I'm feeling much better about the manuscript now. I'm feeling really ready to confront these edits head on. I know that they are not going to be easy, but I know that they're going to be so worth it, and most importantly, I know that I can do it. So that is the great news. But yeah, I finished it up on Thursday. I actually got the opportunity to write with Anna New, so if you haven't watched Anna New, I don't know how that happened, honestly, but I love Anna. She is such a great writer and such a great friend, and I'm glad that we've gotten to have more writing sessions together recently. So that was really good, and she actually, I probably shouldn't reveal that, but we both had some milestones in that writing session, so that was very exciting. But overall, I'm just so excited. I've said the words I cannot express I cannot express enough so many times, but I just feel so ready. It's like I said, it's gonna be difficult, but I know I can do it, and I think that's the best part. But yeah, I just wanted to pop in and let you guys have that update so I could post the video and have you guys see it. It felt a little bit difficult editing because I felt like I had a lot to live up to, because I really loved the editing of the part 1 of pre-revision prep. But I hope you guys were able to enjoy this one, if not equally, if not more, well, at least equally as much. And I wish you the best with your projects. I hope that you're able to write bravely and confidently and to say what you want to say. This is your reminder that you can write that book, you can write that story, and I'm so beyond excited for each and every one of you pursuing writing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!